The Dead by Daylight community absolutely loves getting to see some of their favorite horror baddies in the game. Throughout the years, the game has added numerous icons, with fans continually guessing which will be next. And there have been many popular choices that come up, like Pennywise, Candyman, Pumpkinhead. I even have another video on this channel talking about ideas of adding Chucky to this game. Yet, a horror movie that doesn't really get brought up that often when thinking of new killers to add to Dead by Daylight is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Now, you might be thinking, sure, Jack Torrance was scary and Jack Nicholson absolutely nailed the role, but he's just a crazy person at the end of the day. And you're right. While the insane human as a killer isn't a bad idea, I mean, that kinda defines half of the roster in DBD already, but adding just another person like that feels a bit bland. So we can do better. How about we add the real monster of The Shining? And I'm not meaning Jack Torrance, I'm meaning the real horror. Get ready for the newest killer in Dead by Daylight, the hotel. Now, hold up. You're probably rightfully thinking, how would you play as a hotel? And you aren't playing as the hotel per se. That would be a fun sight to see. Some massive hotel wielding a knife, chasing you around the Red Forest, or creeping behind another building in Haddonfield or something. But no. So the Overlook Hotel doesn't attack its characters directly, like Leatherface or Krueger. It instead goes at them more psychologically and draining the person's mental state. And that is kind of what I wanted to focus on when designing the way the killer plays, as well as the accompanying perks. How would you mess with the survivors' heads and their plan? How can you make them uncertain of their surroundings or make them get lost within the hotel? Playing as the hotel, you're more of a completely invisible entity that can move around the hotel through the floors and walls and is more of a presence than an actual physical being like all the other killers in Dead by Daylight. Imagine a spirit phase invisible being, but with nurses teleport as your basic movement, just kind of going around the hotel. If you've ever seen free roam cameras moving around within games, that's kind of the idea. Now, what will you be doing when moving around like this? Well, a few things. First would be the ability to rotate tiles or swap them around with other tiles entirely on the map. When Kubrick was filming The Shining, he purposefully made the hotel confusing. There are windows that don't make sense due to the structure of the building, or hallways seem to change where they lead throughout the movie, so having that as part of the ability of the hotel seems to fit. They can rotate or swap around tiles that don't have any survivors in them in attempts to confuse and get players lost. Imagine that they run from a gen to get a survivor off hook, and on the way back, now the hallway that they thought led to the ballroom now leads to the kitchen. Did they see a totem during a chase, then when trying to find their way back through the hallways, feel like they just could have sworn it was right around the corner? Not only can you swap around tiles, but you'll also be able to place traps or illusions, similar to Freddy creating fake pallets. The ability to create illusionary gens, chests, totems, maybe even injured survivors. And then when the survivor goes towards and interacts with them, it'll make a loud noise notification for something that we'll get to in a second. I'd also think it'd be kind of cool to have the ability to place the twin girls in locations, and if the survivor goes within their sight, they call out a "Come and play with us, Daddy," and provide another loud noise notification. You might be noticing an issue though. Yeah, this sounds unique and kind of cool, or at least I think it does, but how do we actually hurt the survivors? And Nemesis brings the answer. Having 3 AI roaming the map that hunt down the survivors, which can be called to areas with those traps that I was talking about earlier. One of those people will obviously be Jack Torrance, as well as another one could be the old woman from the bathroom scene. The third AI could be the bear costume guy that we see briefly during the movie, or maybe the prior caretaker, Delbert Grady. Maybe a red add-on could be to add a 4th AI, and have it be whichever one isn't used. Which, quick side note, I find it a missed opportunity that they didn't have a red add-on for Nemesis that adds an extra zombie. Maybe they did, and in the playtest it was deemed a bit too powerful or pressure-inducing, having 3 of them roaming the map, but at the same time, I've seen zombies get stuck on their own shoelaces before, so really who knows. But getting back on topic, the AI would be roaming around the map, chasing survivors at about 75% speed. For reference, the zombies chase at 31.25% and 50% with the Shattered Stars badge. So I feel like these characters would be moving at a faster pace, as they are the main threat in general to the survivors and not secondary like the zombies are to Nemesis. The hotel entity will also be able to possess a character for a short amount of time, which will allow them to move at 110% speed, making it so the killer can actually chase the survivors, but having it be only limited to a basic attack. And this will also be how the killer will have to hook survivors. So to sum it up, you'll be moving around the hotel, swapping around tiles, and setting up traps to confuse the survivors. All the while, they're being chased by AI killers that you can possess for a limited amount of time. Now, the hotel will be coming with its own 3 unique perks, with the first one being Red Rum. Skill checks have a 25, 50, and 75% chance of spinning counterclockwise. Now, why not 100%, you might ask? Well, I didn't want there to be a 100% chance, because if it happens all the time, then it's less of a surprise. The counterclockwise will still throw off their mental game, which is the theme of the killer. And what's fun is we even have a sneak peek of how the community will react when a player misses their skill check for the 4th time in a row due to this perk.
Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Stop it! Red rum! Red rum!
The second perk coming with the hotel is Scourge Hook, Do Not Disturb. 2, 3, or 4 hooks will spawn around the map, that when a survivor gets hooked to them, their aura will be hidden for any survivor outside 24 meters. Now the players will still get a notification, but this will rely on them remembering where the survivor was hooked, as they won't see the aura outside of the 24 meter range. This, in combination with the ability of swapping around tiles, could be kind of fun in having survivors trying to get to their friend, but being stuck in what is pretty much a living maze. The third perk that comes with this hotel is a complimentary breakfast buffet for any guest that stays longer than... Wait, that doesn't sound right. That's not how... Oh, that was the brochure. Here we go. The third perk coming with the hotel is They Needed Correcting. If a survivor takes a protection hit, they suffer from the hindered status effect for 6, 8, or 10 seconds, and have their auras shown for the duration of the effect. This perk is kinda inspired by Trickster's Starstruck by punishing altruistic survivors, because you have a job to do. You have survivors to catch, and you can't have anyone getting in the way.
But I corrected them, sir. And when my wife tried to prevent me from doing my duty, I corrected her.
Coming along with the hotel for a survivor is Wendy, played by the amazing Shelley Duvall. Even though that woman suffers a lot in that movie, she seems to make the most sense because Dick Hallorann dies, or at least he dies in the movie, not in the book, and Danny is a kid during this, and I mean, who else would be the survivor? The snowplow that they escape in at the end? I mean, that'd be kind of silly. Wendy is described as a kind person, someone who is optimistic and wants to help. So her 3 perks are meant to be used more to help your team than personal benefits. The first perk with Wendy is Covering Your Tracks, which will allow her to wipe away scratch marks left behind by your teammates within a 6, 8, or 10 meter radius. With this perk, the player can walk over a teammate's scratch marks if they run by and erase them, in a sense. If the person with the perk is sprinting, however, they'll simply just replace the other survivor scratch marks with their own. Similar to Danny hiding from Jack in the maze at the end of the movie, he notices his footprints and wipes them away, causing Jack to lose them. The killer would lose the survivor if they were able to get around a corner fast enough, and then their tracks got erased, leaving the killer to not know what direction they went. Now for her second perk is a Boone perk called Boone Caretaker, which will allow all survivors to be able to see injured survivors anywhere on the map. Keeping with the theme of trying to help others, this acts like the empathy perk, but for everyone, allowing injured survivors to be easily found and helped by either healing or Maybe someone sees where the injured survivor is, runs over to that area, and takes the attention away from the killer. However, gens that are within 16, 12, and 8 meters of the totem take a 10% progression penalty. I want to use this opportunity to quickly jump to another side conversation, and I actually have a podcast with a few other friends called Accidentally Casual that gets sidetracked every episode. Maybe check that out. But I am personally not a fan of Boone totems. They add another objective for killers to do while they are already trying to wrangle 4 headless chickens running around and stopping them from completing their objectives. Now they also have to seek out totems that, let's be honest, are kinda OP. Survivors can repeat this perk multiple times because the killer can't break totems, so as a balance, I think Boone totems should also include negative side effects. That way survivors aren't just going to spam them everywhere at every opportunity. For her final perk, we have all work and no play. When repairing a generator and that gen reaches, or is already past, 70, 80, or 90% completion, a gen that is not being worked on will make a noise notification. Think of this as the killer perk Tinkerer mixed with Red Herring. This would provide safety to the survivors by pulling the killer's direction somewhere where there is hopefully no survivor, and this might even pull the killer off of a chase. I don't know if it's better with it going 70 to 90 as you level up, or 90 to 70. I don't really know what strategy would be better. I just have to do a 3-tier thing for each perk because behaviors still haven't decided to reduce all the perks to a single tier, which would open a whole new slew of perks because they wouldn't have to be balanced around different numbers. But I'm going down another rabbit hole, and this script is... Geez, I'm on the 4th page. Okay, next topic, the map. Now, there obviously wouldn't be a map that comes with this, because the killer is the map, but would absolutely need to have some of the iconic locations from the movie, like the ballroom, the lobby, room 237, the hedge maze, or some of the other locations. This would likely be one of the biggest maps in the game. Now, the Mori for this would have the survivor being inside the elevator as it closes, and it'll open with a massive pool of blood flowing out, much like the iconic scene from the film. And I also don't want this killer to be left alone in the cosmetic field either. Some options could be Amityville's horror house or the asylum from Grave Encounters. I'd even suggest the building from Netflix's Haunted Hill House, but they just stole Demo Dog and Scoops Ahoy from the game, so no. I think that's about all for this pitch, which I had fun with. I see a lot of great community-suggested ideas, both for licensed characters and some original designs too, but haven't seen anyone offer this before, so it was a fun little challenge. I am working on other videos, like a history of controversial video games, what Mass Effect could look like as an RTS, a pitch for a Dead by Daylight movie, and I promise, not all of my content's gonna be Dead by Daylight focused. I just really enjoy that game, no matter how much it hurts me. But if you'd be interested in checking out some of those other videos that I'll be making, please subscribe. And let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I don't really know how to end this video, so here's a picture of an insect called a panda ant. It is a type of wingless wasp that likes to chill around Chile, that despite the fact females lay about 2,000 eggs, they are nearing extinction. I think they're kinda cute. What about you?